we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you, thank you.
First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in to First Things First with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580, good morning. Good morning and God bless. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. And my first thing today, my first thing every day is giving thanks to God, giving praises, and asking for blessings. Asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders. And let's go. It's a wealth building Wednesday. That's every Wednesday. It's actually every day, but we focus specifically on Wednesdays on putting businesses and programs for businesses, opportunities for Black-owned, BIPOC-owned, women, small businesses, local enterprises, and of course, socially innovative companies in the spotlight. We'll do that today. Hour one, we look local, what's going on here on the left coast side of town, the Pacific Ocean side of things. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive on a hot topic or a person of interest. Really looking forward to the return of Madison McFerrin. She's an amazing artist. We had her on a couple years ago. We had so much fun. And she's got a new project out called Scorpio. So I'm looking so forward to that conversation. That's in our third hour. Hour two, we'll talk with Katrina Michelle. And right now, have the opportunity and the honor of being connected with a local partner in politics here in the Los Angeles area, greater Los Angeles area. We broadcast from Leimert Park. That's Africatown, known as Africatown, USA. And we do that every morning. He's a little further out in the Altadena, Pasadena area, but he's an organizer with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, Pasadena. Michael Williams, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to be on.
Yeah, you sound wide awake. You sound like you've been up for hours. I love it.
Yes.
I feel like you always go hard as an organizer with Black Lives Matter Grassroots, and that's just part of who you are as a person. But it seems like since January 6th and the devastating fire in Altadena, Pasadena, you've picked it up and probably going even harder.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be done, and I think it's a time of urgency for everybody. Like we have to start thinking about how we're going to change our lives in order to respond to the coming threat to all of our safety, freedom. We have to start thinking about the changes that we need to make within our communities in order to make sure that the way of life that we have, not only does it stay what we have, like the progress that we have continues, but that we get more progress, that we are progressing our community, especially the Black community, further, even with the impending fascism and rollbacks of progress and rights that we're seeing right now.
I smile to myself when I hear you say that, Michael, because for most people, it seems like holding the line is enough. Can we just stop the claw back of our rights, of our budgets, our opportunities? But it sounds like that's not enough for you. You feel like we have to keep progressing, even in times when we're facing bigger obstacles.
Yeah, I always tell people that, one of the most trying times for Black folks was during the Civil Rights Movement, right? Where they were facing huge pushback, where people were doubling down on segregation. They were doubling down on discrimination, right? Corporations and government entities were doing all that. But they weren't willing to just settle for the status quo. They weren't willing to just sit there and say, well, we're going to just take what you guys give us. They pushed for things to progress, and they ended the system of segregation and Jim Crow that helped launch us into where we are now. And so we can't just take what they want to give us or be happy with just keeping the status quo of the way it is. We have to be willing to say, we not only want the rights that you've taken away back, but we want the things that we've been asking for decades to start happening, and we need to do that now.
I'm on this trip right now, Michael, because I have so many people calling me to talk them off the ledge, friends, and many of them are more powerful than I am in society, have way more clout than I have. But there's fear and indecision and worry and discouragement that I'm picking up on. So I wanted to start every day, and I think we started this about 4 or 5 days ago, with some kind of statement of courage, of fearlessness. I think fearlessness is the way forward. That's the new mantra. I tell myself fearlessness is the way forward. I think from what I watch of you, you're very fearless in the face of fire recovery, in the face of your abolitionist views. What keeps you that way?
It's just the optimism that if folks are educated enough, if they care enough, if they're motivated enough, that there is no system that can stop the people from winning and getting progress, right? Especially when we're talking about the Black community, because the Black community, through every adversity, has found a way to progress our community in the way that we did. And I think some people will sit and say, well, Black people haven't progressed as much as they should or whatever. But if you think about the actual devastation that we've experienced, the actual setbacks that we experienced, there has been no other group of people that have been attacked the way Black people have all across the world, including in Africa and other places in the diaspora. And yet we have still accomplished so much. We have still created so much for society. We have contributed so much to not only the United States history and culture, but to world culture. And I think that's something that we don't appreciate enough as Black people, that we have such a gift and power to overcome adversity. We have such a gift and power to fight back against oppression like no one else. And I think that when we come together and focus on prioritizing the uplift our communities, there's nothing that can stop us. But I think the hurdle that we're facing right now is lack of education, lack of motivation for people to get involved. And I think once we get past that, there's nothing that can stop our community from thriving.
Well, it's well said. I love this idea of focusing on optimism to drive fearlessness rather than some kind of forced courage, being brave because you can see a future that meets, it's funny. I woke up, I have this thing, Michael, and you'll see it on my Instagram right now, rainbows and ponies and unicorns and crystals. Sometimes it's butterflies and flowers. It's not because, well, I guess I do kind of have rose-colored glasses, but it's because I want to ground myself in the reality that I wish to live in. Not always from a defensive position, but this is my world. My world is beautiful and colorful and gentle and loving, and that's what I want to manifest. And I have to remind myself, because it's so easy to wake up and go, okay, who are we fighting today? But
right.
Fighting in a, fighting and even organizing in a spirit of love.
Yes. And my biggest thing is I'm a student of history. So I look at history to know where we're going, because that's just how history works, right? Like, things repeat themselves, patterns repeat themselves. And so for me, it's when we think about love and we think about putting out love and how love for our people, love for our community, love for our for the ones around us has made such a huge change in all of our lives. Like, Melina says this all the time, but like, our ancestors have been through so much. And so right now we can't look at what's happening and say, well, this is too much for us. This is just overwhelming us, right? We have to say, no, my ancestors went through similar, if not worse things, and still came out the other side, not only surviving what had happened, but changing the world for the better. And so we always have to be optimistic that even if we don't see it in our lifetime, and that's a reality, right? I know Melina will hate me for saying this, because she's like, no, we are going to see it in our lifetime. And I'm pushing for that. I agree with Melina that that's what I'm fighting for, so that we do see this progress in our lifetime. But even if we don't, right?
Yeah.
The work that we're doing is going to help the next generation get there and get closer and closer and closer, until there is a time where there is in someone's lifetime that they don't have to face the same issues that we have had to face. And I think that is at the core of the motivation for doing the work that I do.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. We're talking with Michael Williams of Black Lives Matter, Grassroots, Black Lives Matter LA, and Pasadena. I want to talk about, when we continue this conversation, Michael, there's a report out in the LA Times today about the deployment of fire trucks in the Altadena area, and how most of the LA County trucks did not appear to go where most of the fire was, which of course is where you and your loved ones reside. I want to look at that and get your thoughts about many other things going on this left coast side of town. I invite the KBLA delegation in, like I always do, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. And I thank you, thank you.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TAXI for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TAXI for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TAXI.
Hi, I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., inviting you to join me weekdays at 12 noon right after Tavis Smiley here on KBLA Talk 1580. As a law school graduate and a theologian with a firm grasp of our body politic given almost 2 decades in Congress, my show is the fresh new home of an authentic, uncompromised quest for transformation and salvation, both personal and collectively, as I vigorously interrogate the theological and symbolic meanings embedded in our society. I promise to leverage my knowledge of history, theology, and both international and domestic issues to imagine an inclusive vision for the future, which I hope will inspire all of us to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as a given, not just an aspiration. So join me weekdays at 12 noon right after Tavis Smiley for 2 hours of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, talking with Michael Williams of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Michael, just to clarify for everyone, you were talking about Dr. Melina Abdullah, who's the leader of Black Lives Matter Grassroots and an organizer with BLMLA. But I'm looking at this piece in today's LA Times. They say they analyzed the data of the deployment of fire trucks during the Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire, and only one fire truck was west of Lake Avenue, which from my understanding is where most of the black people live, and it's where almost everyone that died in that particular blaze went down. Everyone except one died in that area. They say in this article, most of those trucks had already been sent to the Palisades and to East Altadena, and there was only one fire truck sent over to that area, Eaton, Altadena. The fire chief for the county, we're not talking about the city now, we're talking about the county, which encompasses many cities, including LA, Pasadena, et cetera, et cetera. He says it was probably human error, that the supervisors decided where those trucks went. But this analysis, they use the truck tracker, tells a pretty problematic story. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I know it for a lot of people it's shocking, but this is what has been being told in the city of Altadena for a long time, since the fires started, right? That there weren't enough fire trucks, that they didn't see fire trucks, that people had to watch their homes literally burn to the ground because there weren't any firefighters. And so this is just reaffirming what the community of Altadena had already been saying about these fires. I'm glad that at least there's some data, because, sometimes people don't like to believe black people when we talk about the issues in our community.
Yeah, sadly.
And so they need some, right. So they need some extra data, extra sources to confirm what black people have been saying. And this is something that is not news to people in Altadena and in Pasadena, because we lived it. We saw it. We saw that there weren't enough fire trucks whether it's human error, and I know there's a whole blame game going on. Everybody's trying to point fingers at each other, right? The county's trying to point fingers at the city, the police. Yeah, everybody's blaming each other for what the fires happened, or how everything went down, or the deployments. But the reality is that this was a citywide failure. This was a citywide issue, and it doesn't stop with just the city. It goes all the way up to the state, right? This is a system error. This is a problem with how we have been prioritizing the resources for people, right? And this goes into police issues. This goes into other issues of funding, where our money goes to, where our tax money goes to, right? I've told people this many times. As critical as I am of Karen Bass, this issue didn't start with Karen Bass. It won't end with Karen Bass, right? It's a decade-long issue that we've been having, where our fire department has not been the priority of the city or the state. And which is crazy
and in this case,
about.
it's the county too, because
Right.
they're talking about county resources here, which actually would be on Catherine Barger and Lindsay Horvath. I mean, for your area, right? Horvath is more Palisades. Right. Barger would be more Altadena.
Right. Like I said, this is a system. It doesn't lie on one person. It's a system-wide error. It's a system-wide error.
Yeah. Well, this polling by the LA Times does affirm what you just said. They said 1 in 5 residents believe that the county fire department, let Altadena burn on purpose. 20% of people think the fire department just purposely burned down their community. That's crazy.
Yeah, and like I said, it's something that we witnessed, and if you, it's hard to believe if you weren't here and you didn't see, but it's something that a lot of people have been reporting, that they literally had to watch their homes burn down in front of them. The neighbors had to grab hoses from across the street and try to put out fires because there weren't firefighters. There weren't firefighters there to help people save their homes, save their property, save their belongings. And so, that also led to people staying instead of leaving, because they were like, well, I'd rather stay and try to, save my home, save my property, then hope that the fire department will make it there in time to do something. And so that could have led to, I know if we're in one case that led to someone's death. And so, it's something that needs to be talked about more. Like I know there was an increase in funding in the city fire department. We're looking at the county budget as well, if there will be an increase in fire. But it's not just about, it is about money, but it's also about prioritization and how we utilize the resources that we have.
They're quoting this woman, Sophia Vidal, who lives in Altadena, and she says she never even heard a siren. She was trying to stay, and exactly as you say, she was trying to stay and save her own home, and she said she never even heard a siren, which makes sense according to what you're saying. Well, if they're not going to come, let me at least try to fix this.
Yeah, there's been story after story of people staying around, neighbors helping each other, trying to save their homes, trying to save what their property, and it was something that when you think about this system that we have here in Los Angeles and here in America, and you think, well, if something like this happens, there's got to be stuff in place to make sure that I'm okay. And what a lot of these disasters, what a lot of these things show us is that the systems in place to help us, the systems in place to protect us, are not foolproof, and they don't work the way that they should. And I think going back to the previous conversation about working towards progress, working towards a better society, I think we have to really re-examine what the role of the government is, right? And how it is positioned itself in our society. Because if the government can't even properly respond to something like this, what happened in Altadena, or what happened in Texas, or what happened in the South last year, right? if they can't properly respond to these things, which is one of the jobs of the government, then we have to really question what is the purpose of our government right now? What is our government actually doing, and what is our tax money actually paying for?
Yeah, this chart is pretty devastating. It notes that evacuations were ordered for East Altadena at 6:40 p.m. and not ordered for West Altadena until 3:25 in the morning, and still the fire trucks do not come anywhere near deployment anywhere else. What's the solution? I know people are still trying to rebuild, barely getting around to that, but what's the follow-up to these data? The fire trucks weren't there. The warning wasn't there. Where the black folks, and I know Altadena's diverse, but where the majority of black folks lived, we didn't get those warnings nor those fire trucks. What's the follow-up? Where's the accountability here?
I think, one, we have to be vocal, and I'm so glad that you're bringing this up, and I'm so glad you're continuing to uplift the voices of folks in Altadena. We have to continue to uplift this. We have to continue to voice this, right? Because there is a lack of support here in Altadena in the aftermath, right? There is a lack of resources. And we're already seeing that people have been taking advantage of this opportunity to displace people, to gouge people out of their homes and properties. There needs to be more attention brought to this, not only for future preparedness in the case of another fire, but how to address the aftermath. And there needs to be more resources going into Altadena from all different places, and there needs to be more continued attention and awareness. The other thing is we need to really look at our budgets, not only the city budget, but the county budget and the individual budgets, right? I was saying this during the fire, that Pasadena also doesn't support its fire department the way that it needs to, right? All of these entities, right, are prioritizing other things instead of the things that are vital to our safety and our communities, right? And so we all have to start paying more attention to what money is actually going to where, right? And how much of those resources are actually getting to our communities. Because that's another thing, right? Because we can say that the money is being allocated for certain things, but are we actually seeing that money being put into our communities? Are we actually seeing a difference in our communities? Because if we are still seeing the same results and they're telling us that, well, we're actually putting more money into this, then we know there's something up. We know that either the money is not going to the proper places that it needs to go, or that the money is actually not being used for the things that they're claiming it's being used for. Michael Williams is my guest. You're welcome in. We've got news, traffic, and sports right here, right now.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman says AI will erase entire job categories like customer support and could be weaponized by hostile nations.
We weren't sure even a year ago how much further our current research roadmap was going to continue, if we're going to hit some sort of limit. At this point, it looks like we've got many years ahead of us of almost certain progress.
He claims ChatGPT outperforms doctors in diagnosis and warns AI could be used to attack financial systems and commit fraud. Nicole Fagan, a former defense attorney in the Young Thug YSL trial, now faces new charges for smuggling contraband into Fulton County Jail. Already charged with gang activity and drug trafficking, she's now accused of recruiting for a gang and criminal solicitation. And new Dolphins tight end Darren Waller says staying sober physically and emotionally is key to his success. He's easing into camp after being placed on the PUP list. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the dagger?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Venus Williams, at age 45, became the second oldest woman to win a tour-level singles match. The Compton native defeated Peyton Stearns in straight sets Tuesday, 6-3 and 6-4 in the first round of the D.C. Open in Washington, D.C. It was the first singles win for Venus since the Cincinnati Open in August of 2023. Tuesday's match was also the first time Venus had been on the court since the Miami Open on March 19, 2024. Martina Navratilova holds the record as the oldest woman to win a tour-level singles match. Navratilova was 47 when she won a match at Wimbledon in 2004. Venus showed she still has some game. One of her serves was clocked at 112 miles per hour. Venus, a 7-time Grand Slam champion, was given a wildcard exemption to play in the D.C. Open. She advances to the second round on Thursday against the number 5 seed in the tournament, Magdalena Frech of Poland. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Recently, I listened to a Tavis Smiley show conversation with James Farr. At one point, James said something that caught me off guard. Not because it wasn't true, but because it is. Black Altadena is gone. I know it may seem stupid and non-productive, but I stopped in that moment listening to Tavis and James. I broke down and cried. In the back of my mind, I told myself we can bring it back like it was. But James Farr's reality check hit me like a ton of bricks. My community is being murdered. I said murdered, not by the Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire, but by the people we elect to protect us, and by greedy and gatekeeping nonprofits who cannot see the forest for the trees. For the first time since the fire, I truly feel and understand my wife's inconsolable pain. Because I'm struggling to find a path to recovery and at least some form of normalcy. My community is crumbling right in front of my face. Lack of funding to rebuild is slowly destroying us. Many of us can no longer hold out, and developers are gobbling up our property. When I hear voices like Tavis Smiley and James Farr speak truth to power on KBLA Talk 1580, it reminds me that we're not crazy, just unheard. Make no mistake here, KBLA delegation, this is war, and we the people of Black Altadena are losing. It's like waiting for reparation. Not gonna happen, brother. In this new orange man world, no one, no entity is persuaded by right or wrong. There is no consequence for doing the wrong thing, and no accolades or support for doing the right thing. Will war-torn Black Altadena survive? Your guess is as good as mine. But what have I got to lose? I'm in my 70s and don't have time to wait. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once suggested that riots break out when people have no hope. But there's nothing left to burn down in Altadena. I wish I could say I remain hopeful that my beloved community will rise again like a phoenix from the ashes. I wish I could. With a KBLA Talk 1580 guest editorial, I'm Martin Gordon, chair of the Pasadena Community Coalition. Pasadena Community Coalition at gmail.com. Reach out to me. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
You don't have to wait for me. Know that it's late. I needed the space just to beat. Every single day feels like I've lost my mind.
KBLA Talk 1580. That's Madison McFerrin from her last project, which I love so much. And I'm looking forward to talking with her in the final hour of today's show. She's got a new one. It's called Scorpio. And yeah, this is what I sing every day when I'm coming to KBLA. I said I'm on my way. I'll be there. I'll be right there. I'm so glad to have Michael Williams with me this morning. He's an organizer with Black Lives Matter LA, Black Lives Matter Grassroots out in the Pasadena, Altadena area. And focusing on just really tapping in with you because I know you're out there. And I actually have been surprised at some of the follow-up that's happening in local media and local mainstream media. We're committed to it. You know, James Farr has a show now after This Is Not a Drill every Saturday focused on Altadena, Pasadena. And part of the reason for that is exactly what you said, Michael. We just don't want to let people look away. You can't rebuild and fix a situation like this in a few months. It's going to take years, and that means we can't just be driven by the news cycle. We have to drive the news cycle ourselves.
Yeah, and just hearing Martin again, who is a mentor of mine and a great friend, who also lost his home in the fires. It just re-emphasizes the importance that, you know, even though the headlines might go away or the press might go away, the impact is still there. Like the community is still reeling and devastated by what is happening, and people are still trying to scrape up their lives from the devastation. And then there's the other real reality that this could happen again. You know, we're entering fire season as we speak. And we know that because of climate change, because of circumstances in our environment, the likelihood of another fire like this, where we have winds plus fire, is a higher chance, right? And so the vigilance, the neediness for preparedness, not only preparedness, but to have safety nets, to implement programs for when these things happen. Here's how we help people is so needed. It's so needed. It's so vital because, you know, everybody doesn't think that these things can happen to them until it happens to them.
Right.
You know, and everybody thinks it's someone else's problem until it's their problem. Right. And one of the best things that we can do as a community here in Los Angeles is to work towards more preventative measures instead of reacting to the aftermath, right?
Yes.
Because in the aftermath, the damage is already done, and all we can do is mitigate those losses and try to help rebuild. But at least if we have proactive steps that help people, we can try to help stop a lot of the things that are happening right now, because there is a lack of resources, there is a lack of attention, and in Altadena and Pasadena, and there needs to be a reinvigoration of both here in the city.
Carl Tucker in the chat, the YouTube chat, wants to know who's keeping up with those cash donations that went to nonprofits, that went to churches and such to distribute to the community.
That's a good question. There is a lot of resources that have been pulled back into the community and have been poured into the community. But as far as the nonprofits, I would love to know that too. I've been waiting to see a lot of this money get put back into communities, but I haven't seen it, right? There's been a whole bunch of people saying that they donated this or they have this amount of money for people who are facing fires. And I know tons of people. I know over 24 people who have lost their homes
wow,
here in
Michael.
Altadena, and that's being generous. That's a low number. I probably know more than that. And so And none of them, the majority of them, have not seen that help, have not been able to access any of those resources, have either had to come out of pocket for expenses or had to crowdfund for others in the community to help them. And so I would love to know where all that money went and what it's being spent on, because as far as I can see, it's not being spent on the people who need it.
Yeah. Well, another, while we're on what people are talking about on the ground that I've heard, and Molly Bell cites this in the YouTube chat as well, which you could find at KBLA 1580 on YouTube, is that there's a good slice of folks that think this is meant to make way for the Olympics, or meant to make way for some gentrification or some other nefarious reason why the diverse and black areas of Altadena were allowed to burn, and why the follow-up, at least as many see it, has been inadequate.
I mean, it's, all of this is valid because the response defies logic, right? And so when things defy logic, it leads to rationalization. Like, why does something that seems so simple, which is, hey, let's put money into people's hands to continue to maintain their homes? Why are people having to pay for cleanup or maintenance of property that was destroyed by fire? Why isn't that the state or the city or the federal government doing that job, right? Why are people not being housed efficiently? Why aren't people getting resources like food and clothes, not from community organizations that built those things up in the aftermath or in immediate response, but why aren't they getting that from these large nonprofits or from the city government or from the county government? Why are these things not happening in the way that we think it should? And so all of these things are valid, right? All of these questions are valid. Why isn't there more urgency to help Black people, help Latino people, help a largely minority community in the city of Altadena rebuild, right? Why isn't there more urgency for that? Why are we seeing a more focus on putting in developers? I mean, we knew the fix was in once Steve Soberoff was put in charge of redevelopment for our area after the fire. Steve Soberoff, if you don't know, is not only a police apologist who has disparaged family members who have lost their loved ones to police, to LAPD, while he was the president and member of the Los Angeles Police Commission, but he is a gentrifier. He is someone who relishes in the idea of gentrifying and displacing people from areas. And so when he was put in command of, or in charge of the redevelopment efforts in Altadena, we already knew we were bracing ourselves from a long fight of trying to fight against developers and real estate firms and all these people from taking our community and displacing thousands of people.
Now, my understanding was that he was just in charge of Palisades. I never heard that he was in charge of Altadena, because that was a Karen Bass appointee, so I don't know, but maybe I missed something, because, I did notice that Supervisor Barger started talking about, oh, this is urgent, or whatever she was talking about, possibly about around a month after the fire in Altadena, and I just kind of thought, well, is this not just now occurring to you? But I thought he was only over Palisades.
He's over the redevelopment, and I to be honest, I don't know how far his reach is.
Okay.
But I just bring that up to say that, like, the people that were put in charge were obvious people who were gentrifiers, right? And so, we're looking at who's being put in charge across the board, right? Like, it was obvious that was what they were doing because of who they were putting in charge, not only of the Palisades, but of everywhere, right? Like, these are developers. These are people who are going to try to turn our community into something that it's not, and they're not going to prioritize keeping the community or keeping people in the community that have been living there for decades. They're not going to prioritize that. And so that's why we were looking at that. That's why we were concerned, because it's just a pattern of behavior that people who get into these places of power are not concerned with the everyday person. They're concerned with profits, money, and how they can make themselves richer.
Michael, where are we at with your family and your situation?
We're okay. We've been back for a couple, for months now, and it's just dealing with the everyday process of realizing and understanding what's going on here in Altadena and in Pasadena. My family lives in Pasadena. We had to evacuate for a couple of days, but we're okay, and we're just adjusting. But there's real questions, even for myself, right? In my family, there's real questions about, should we stay? Should we move? Right? What is left for us here?
What is left for us here? What is left for us here? Yeah. It's a fair question.
And I'm just being open and honest, right? Like my if for me, I would stay here until the very end, right? But my family, they have other ideas, other thoughts, and I think what my family's going through is what a lot of families are going through, whether you were impacted directly by the fires or you were just in the community. It's a thought. It's something that all of us are thinking about, where, what does the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years look like for Altadena, especially if we can't get the resources that folks need to rebuild and to stay in our community. What does our community look like? And does that mean that maybe we should start looking for another place to call home? And it's sad that that's the place that we're in right now.
You agree with Martin Gordon on the guest editorial? He says that Pasadena, Altadena, Black Altadena, really, as you know, it is not coming back.
I'm two ways about it, because I understand what both James and Martin are saying, is that the community that we knew is not coming back, right? It's not like that's gone. We can't pretend like we can build it back the same way that it was, right? Because there are going to be people, there already has been people who have left. There are businesses that are left. There's not going to be the same place that it was. But what I hope and what I'm fighting for is that we at least maintain the authenticity of this neighborhood continuing to be a legacy for Black people here in the city of Los Angeles, a safe haven for Black people in the city of Los Angeles, and some place where Black people feel comfortable living in, right? And that they don't feel like they have to leave or have to go live somewhere else, that they can stay in the places that they grew up in. That's what I'm fighting for. And I know it's not going to be the same, but I hope to continue the legacy of Altadena being a city where Black people can thrive.
Talking with Michael Williams, you're invited in at 800-920-1580. This is where we're going to keep talking about it. We're committed to that, and I'm so blessed to be at a Black-owned enterprise where we can do just that. Happy Wealth Building Wednesday from KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Talking with Michael Williams. He's an organizer with Black Lives Matter, LA, Altadena, Pasadena area, and Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Michael, I want to ask you, first of all, congratulations on 12 years of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, the real, actual Black Lives Matter, as of last weekend. I want to make sure I ask you what your call to action is, or what, if there's anything you want to put out there as far as organizing. I know a lot of people didn't connect the dots in terms of the emergency response that Black Lives Matter has been doing in Altadena, because we think more of the organization strictly in terms of police violence. But I don't want to let you speak on that and whatever call to action you might have for us.
Yeah, really quickly, I would be remiss if I didn't come on while I have this platform and talk about Benito Flores, who just passed away last Friday, fighting for his home. Benito was a vital part of our Kevin De Leon Must Go campaign, that Black Lives Matter Los Angeles headed up and spearheaded. And he passed away trying to fight for his right to housing. He was fighting an eviction and had an accident because of that fight. And so I want to uplift him and his importance to the El Sereno community, his importance to Black and Brown solidarity, and wish him a rest and peace in while he transitions to the next part of his journey. And I want to give my heart and sympathies to the El Sereno community for the loss of one of their leaders and a great activist. And the call to action is simple. Get involved, right? There are so many things to get involved with, right? If you're looking to work in Altadena, look into Altadena Rising and what they're doing here in Altadena, right? If you're looking for work in Black LA, join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. Look into Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the work we're doing around reparations, around solidarity around ICE, the work that we're doing with families who have been affected by police, right? We just had 2 individuals murdered by LAPD in the past 2 weeks, and they're already they already have a higher number of police shootings than they did this time last year, right? And so that is not an issue that has gone away. That is not an issue that even though, again, the media attention might not be on that, it is not something that has stopped happening. And so plug into the work that needs to be done in your community, look into your community about what their needs are, and start building community solidarity so that we can prepare ourselves to fight for progress.
I was sad to hear that yesterday they found another victim of the Eaton Fire in Altadena. Actually, it was Monday. So now we're at an official death toll of 31. But 6 months later, they found someone who remains on the 10 block of La Venezia Court. And the news is, I guess, even made worse by the fact that, once again, we're talking about the west side, where more black folks lived, where warnings were slower, where the evacuation was stated hours after the other parts of Pasadena. How did that hit you, that news? Just another person west of Lake Avenue being found.
It continues to underline the point that we've been stressing, is that, you know, there was failure. There was failure in the system. And some people might say it's not failure because the system was designed to be this way. But it is still a failure on the fact that we have not created a society where things like this are preventable, you know, and because of the lack of supports that we had before the fire and the lack of support that we have now, these things are continue to compile on themselves, and there needs to be more questioning on what we can do better. There doesn't need to be just it happened and let's move on. There needs to be questioning about what could have been done better, what steps we need to take now, and to make sure. This is where the community comes in. Not only to have those questions, but to make sure that the proper changes that need to be implemented to make sure that these things don't happen again are implemented, and that they are not turned back or rolled back, that they are continued to be put into the community's hands so that those resources are available.
Michael, tell us how to find you and keep up with the work that you're doing.
You can, of course, follow Black Lives Matter Los Angeles at BLMLA at on Instagram, and I believe that's also what it is on Twitter. If you want to follow me, it's at Indigo02 on Instagram. I post a lot of stuff, and mostly about education and information about what's going on in the community. So you can find me on Instagram, and yeah, that's how you can keep in touch. You can also, if you're looking to join in on the work that's being done in Altadena, look into Altadena Rising, which is a coalition of different organizations here in Altadena that is helping to rebuild Altadena and fight for the resources that our community needs.
And where would you advise people to turn for accurate information with so many conspiracies and different rumors cropping up just in our YouTube chat?
I would, like I said, I would go and look into Altadena Rising. I would go and look into BLMLA because we usually have accurate information. And so if you're looking for more information about what is actually going on, those are good channels to go to.
Well, I appreciate all the work that you're doing, especially in light of your own family's losses and adjustments that you are still making. And just the fact that you fought through that by continuing to help others is pretty inspiring. And Michael Williams, thank you for the work that you're doing, and thanks for sharing your journey with us this morning.
Thank you for having me on.
We'll have to do it again. It's time to call me. We've got our Wealth Building Wednesday. We're talking food this morning. Yay. And we're opening up the phone lines to talk about everything else that's going on later in the hour, and boy, is there a lot. Right now, it's news, traffic, and sports, though, on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman says AI will erase entire job categories like customer support and could be weaponized by hostile nations.
We weren't sure even a year ago how much further our current research roadmap was going to continue, if we're going to hit some sort of limit. At this point, it looks like we've got many years ahead of us of almost certain progress.
He claims ChatGPT outperforms doctors in diagnosis and warned Fulton County Jail. Already charged with gang activity and drug trafficking, she's now accused of recruiting for a gang and criminal solicitation.